a podcast to honor the gods.
This better come with a sacrifice.
Dave X Media.
Welcome to the Restricted Section, the podcast that holds up a magnifying glass to all of the issues in the Harry Potter series that have actually been there this entire time. If you haven't done the reading, don't worry, we did it for you. Here's what we're talking about this week. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Chapter 19, The Silver Doe. Or, Dat Silver Doe. No, it sounds better in my head. In which Harry Potter goes full Dauntless in a frozen pond and finds both the Sword of Gryffindor and one Ronald Weasley. I'm your host, Christina. With me today is my friend Josh from Super Scary. Say hello to the listeners, Josh.
Hello. How are you?
I'm very ill. Thank you for asking. Listeners, if you're like, what's wrong with her voice? That's what's wrong with it. It's bad. Also with us today is our friend Ethan from over on Mysteries in the Machine. I said that right? Great.
That is correct.
Okay, good. Say hello to the listeners, Ethan.
Hello, listeners. I'm happy to be here. It has been forever since I've been on here, and I'm happy to be back.
I know. I really have a complex when I say the name of your podcast because it could be like Mysteries from the Machine, Mysteries...
Sure.
Like Panic at the Disco, but it's like Mysteries at the Machine, you know?
That's not a bad plan. Like, I'll have to talk to Charlie about that.
Yeah.
Time to rebrand.
Think about it. So, Ethan, I don't think you've been on since you've launched that podcast. Why don't you tell the listeners about it a little bit?
That's true. The podcast did start pretty recently, back in March. So myself and fellow Deus Ex Media creator Charlie, we have a podcast together talking about Scooby-Doo. Josh has been on once, probably going to be on a lot more in the future because, you know, he's the horror guy. Scooby-Doo is children's horror at its finest, in my personal opinion.
Hell yeah.
I also want to come on one day, too, because I do love Scooby-Doo. But when y'all asked me, you guys were like, do you like Scooby-Doo? And I was like, yes, in the most casual way. Like, I don't have any kind of knowledge or anything about it. I just have watched it a lot.
That's valid. And Tina, the thing is, Charlie knows a lot more about Scooby-Doo than I do.
That's good dynamic, though, so then you can ask questions.
Yeah, because, like, I've seen the original series, Where Are You? I've seen What's New Scooby-Doo, and I've seen Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, and that's it. There's a lot more that I haven't seen.
This is like talking to people about Star Trek when I'm like, those all sound cool and familiar, but I don't know any of them.
That is totally valid.
Or like Power Rangers.
The Power Rangers lore is much deeper than you would expect.
Oh, it's
really?
so deep. But,
oh my god, okay.
Yeah, well, the only reason I know that is because Frank watched it as a kid. So now, like, I'm like, do you like this iteration? Because I buy him, like, toys and shit. Because they've been, like basically re-releasing all that shit.
Is he a Mighty Morphin girly? Because...
Oh, definitely, yeah.
That's what was playing when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
sure. And then I remember my brother was more of a Turbo guy.
Yeah. Well, I think Frank does like Turbo. Welcome to the Power Rangers podcast. But
wait, I would love to start a podcast with Frank about Power Rangers.
Honestly, like, if it was to, like, just him coming on to be like, yeah, I love this. Like, he's met the original, like, Green Ranger who sadly passed away. Yeah. But yeah, he got to meet him and did photo ops and all that shit. While dressed as, like, the white Ninjetti Ranger from the movie. Yeah.
Yes.
And I made that costume for him. Just humble brag.
Holy shit, Josh. That's awesome.
Yeah. I need a husband like you.
Well...
Hey, if Sean wanted to, he would. That's all I'm going to say.
There's one essential issue with getting a husband like Josh. It's that you're gay.
Listen, nobody on this call is straight. We're all good here.
Oh my god. I hate the way that laughing makes you cough so much. It's terrible. I've just been watching Once Upon a Time all day, so suffice it to say I have not been laughing at all.
Oh, no.
I've been like, I can't believe you guys are still writing content. It's like, I can't believe this guy died an 8th time. It's like, I wish I could be shocked at this, but you just go so hard for the shock every single episode. Whoa.
Is it like, is it thundering really bad where you are?
Can you hear that?
Yeah. We're have like a huge storm over us right now in Richmond, so.
Okay.
This is the longest thunder
Yeah,
I've
it's
ever
still
heard in my
going.
life. It's still going.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Supposedly, like, down toward, like, North Carolina border and shit, it's supposed to be, like, 50-mile-an-hour winds and
Oh my god.
lots
wait.
of rain.
Hold on. I'm gonna text Sean. Hold on. Because I have an inflatable pool in the backyard. Please check on my inflatable pool.
The important
on.
things in
Why?
Because it's empty and it's probably... Is it blowing away?
Is it gone?
If so, please retrieve. I'm
Please.
so sorry.
It's in Bird Park, like, just flying around.
Oh my god. Anyway, let's see how many fandoms we can talk about that aren't Harry Potter before we get to the chapter.
Oh,
Listen,
I'm
Let me just
all
gaze
in.
around my office.
I'm all in.
I was also been watching Adventure Time today.
Oh.
hell yeah.
If you watch too much Once Upon a Time, especially season 6, when the writing gets pretty bad, your brain just starts to turn to mush.
I have
My
not
brain's
watched
already been
past,
mush.
like, season 2 of Once Upon a Time, and I think that's
Oh, that's exactly right,
perfectly fine.
Ethan. Yeah, you watched the good stuff.
Is that when Frozen and Wizard of Oz and
Frozen is season 4, if I remember
Oh
correctly.
Jesus! Okay.
Yeah.
Then what is
Yeah.
season 6?
There's a lot. No, I know. Season 6, they're circling back to Peter Pan, which was in season 3. They're circling back to a lot of stuff. And also, by this time, our cast of characters is just simply unwieldy. The main characters, a lot of episodes don't even get screen time because they're just too many characters.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, okay, so I guess let's talk about Harry Potter.
The reason why we're
man.
here.
Because we have
I-
to.
I feel like I sound terrible. I do have a hot toddy. It smells like just whiskey, which I think any good hot toddy should.
Depends on how
me
much
take a
fun you
sip.
want to have.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to have a lot. I think that my funniest episodes, and maybe this is just a delusional fever dream, but I feel like when I've been sick and drank hot toddies on the pod before, I've been very funny.
I have been on an episode where you did
baby
a
talk.
baby talk voice.
The baby talk.
voice. Please
Should
don't.
I withhold
no,
back to
no,
Tina, please.
no.
That is just something my friends and I do for like no fucking reason because we think it's funny. But
Yep.
you don't do it for very long. You just do it. A big one we do is, oh, that hooded. Whenever anything, like my friend Adrienne is like, had to get her dog's ACL repaired and she dropped, like 4K on the surgery and she's like, that one really hurt. And we were like, that one hooded.
I love that the silence is so deafening. You be like,
Just explaining jokes that you have with your oldest friends to like other people on a podcast is just not.
welcome to the Baby Talk podcast, where I, your host Josh, shoots down any and all baby talk.
I'm just afraid of the first sip of a hot drink. It's like terrifying. What if it burns me for life? Too hot. Can't drink.
I pulled my back. I pulled a muscle in my back this weekend.
Oh, no.
Redoing my girlfriend's parents' patio.
Oh my
and
god.
I am still
Do you
recovering.
get workers' comp?
Words come.
I mean, if it's your girlfriend's parents, I'd be like, oh no, my little back. Who's gonna pay for the doctor? That one hooded.
I'll allow that one.
So you are improving though, Ethan.
Yeah.
Okay.
I used to not stretch like at all. I have stretched more in the past 3 days than I have in probably years.
That's good.
I just got a text from Mary Clay that says that the Bidens got COVID too. Or wait, just the one Biden.
Yeah, Joe Biden did. Yeah.
The one.
I saw that.
It's everywhere. It's coming to get you. No. It's listener. You're probably safe. You probably won't get COVID. Well, Leela brought COVID into the friend group. Freya, Brooke's baby, brought hand, foot, and mouth disease, which is a daycare cooties. And it sounds terrible. It's because I had to Google it. I was like, what's wrong with my hand, foot, and mouth? Children who get it usually get rashes on their hand, foot, and mouth. In grown-ups, it just feels like COVID.
Great.
Yeah, so I don't know which one I have, but it's definitely one of those.
Ooh.
Or both.
Yeah, and then
Can you get both at the same time?
yeah, and then this past weekend my grandma got COVID for.
Oh my god, is
She's fine.
Gonna be okay? Okay.
She's fine. She's just really tired. That's it.
Okay, we can do tired. We can do really tired. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and also my mom pulled her back this week. Hey everyone, are we okay? What's going on?
I don't.
Are we
Yeah,
okay?
vibe check.
I got vibe checked by that fucking bag of sand I was trying to lift.
Oh god. No.
Fucking hip checked by a bag of sand. Do you guys know how in Super Smash Melee, to be specific, probably in the other ones too, but Peach, her main move is like a hip check. She goes like,
Oh, yeah.
and it's just the booty. I'm picturing Peach hip checking Ethan, but then it's also just a bag of sand.
You know, she could fit multiple bags of sand under that hoop skirt. It's possible.
Oh yeah, that ass is multiple bags of sand. Yeah.
Dead ass. Yeah.
So
Deadass.
not even a BBL. It's just sand.
That guy from 40-Year-Old Virgin, when he gets asked about boobs, and he's like, oh yeah, like bags of sand.
Like, my dude, have you felt boobs and a bag of sand? They're very different.
They're pretty different. One of them is a lot more malleable, and the other one's a lot more squishyable. I'm grabbing my own boobs just to make sure that it doesn't feel like sand. It does not.
Well, one has significantly less grit. I'll say that.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it out there. My boobs, almost no grit. Almost no grit on them. You could not smooth out the rough edges of a roughly sawed piece of wood with my tits.
That's good. That's a very good thing.
I mean, I don't think so anyway.
Well, you know what's really gritty is, Harry trying to get the sword. Am I right?
So somebody wants to get off the Zoom call at some point tonight. Okay.
Listen, I'm here for a good time, not a long time. This is one of the last
True.
chapters of this book.
Okay. So Harry Potter, Deathly Hallows, Chapter 19, The Silver Doe. Ethan, did you pick this one specifically?
Yeah, and there's a reason for that.
Tell me why. Oh, do you want to tell us now, or do you want to get to it when we get to it?
We will get there.
Okay. And then Josh, you're on this podcast because everyone that we usually comes on this show is sick, as I mentioned earlier in this episode. When I told you what episode we were doing, did you know what happens in this chapter, or did you not really remember?
I didn't really remember, and also obviously, if listeners are keeping up, I was on the show 2 weeks ago. I think
2 weeks ago. Shout out to Josh.
Shout out to me.
Series regular. Well,
clutch.
because okay, so everyone's sick. Also, like, Andrew has a new job where he's almost never available nights. He used to be my number one go-to. Haley, I think, is just burned out and trying to figure out how to tell me. Leela has a new twice-a-week appointment that she does. Like, it is getting rough out here. I'm like, where are my co-hosts going? Oh, stay with me.
Well, welcome to the restricted section where we slowly morph into Power Rangers podcast.
I thought you were going to say a Scooby-Doo podcast and or a horror podcast. No, we're going in a new third direction.
Yeah.
Listen. Anything can happen.
So, would you believe that they're camping at the beginning of this chapter?
Oh my god. What?
What?
I'll be real, like, reading this book has always felt so long to me, and the camping has always felt endlessly unbearable. But for some reason in this reread, I think because, like, breaking it down into chapters, it really hasn't felt that long. This is like the last one where they're camping, basically.
Yeah.
Like, it has blasted by. They are kind of spooked. I mean, imagine being in the woods. Imagine camping in the woods when you're not being persecuted. I find that a little creepy by itself. I'm usually with friends in a cheerful fire, so I feel safe. But, like, I think being in the middle of the woods is kind of, like, inherently creepy.
Yeah,
but they're also being tracked down, and people are out there trying to murder them. So they are, like, hearing things. And, like, are they they don't know. What is it?
Yeah.
Well, also, I don't know what happened in between my last chapter and this one, aside from camping, but...
Well, I'll tell you. Hold on.
Okay.
So, would you believe all they did was read a book?
Oh my goodness. So I didn't miss anything.
All they did was read The Life and Lies of Albus Dumbledore. You missed absolutely fucking nothing, Josh.
Got it.
And
Okay,
get attacked by a snake dressed as a woman, but that's a whole different
No,
thing.
he was there for that
Yeah,
chapter.
I was there for that
my
chapter.
bad.
So, Josh, you're actually reading a superior version of the book where the last chapter does not exist.
Perfect. I love that for me. So basically, they're still coming off of Nagini attacking them and almost getting apprehended by freaking Voldemort. So,
like, very viscerally and intensely. That was fucking crazy.
And, like, Harry's had him in his head, like, even more so, it feels like, when they apparated and he, like, saw the whole, like, Voldemort's memory of going in and killing his parents. So, like, of course he's gonna be like, holy shit, I can't sleep. Holy shit, there might be a snake out there.
Well, the crazy thing is, Josh, like, a normal person like you or me would be really worried about having almost been murdered by Voldemort and about witnessing his memory of the murder of your parents, but Harry's mostly only worried about how Dumbledore didn't tell him his whole life story. That's like his main problem right now, is being mad at Dumbledore.
Oh, God.
It's infuriating.
Listen, he has every right to be mad at Dumbledore. That man is a lying piece of shit. And deserves every bit of slander that comes his way.
But is it his biggest problem right now?
No, it's
Not
not.
necessarily.
No, it is not.
Yeah.
No, it is not. I forgot I was gonna put some cold water into my hot toddy to make it drinkable, but then I just spilled it and put the lid back on, and I forgot to ever put cold water in the hot toddy.
Oh, no.
It's okay. Just a little bit of spilling. Just a little bit. Okay. Is it really water if you're not spilling it a little bit? I think no.
No. You always gotta get a little bit like on your face or on your clothes or whatever.
Literally, Wildling was asking for a picture of me to put on their Instagram or something, and I found this really cute picture of me in the mountains, and then I noticed that there was a very visible water dribble down the front of my shirt, and I was like, well, maybe a different one.
Listen, are you really hiking if you aren't just chugging water whenever you take a break?
No, I know, seriously, and it feels better. It's like it's fucking 90 degrees out here. Please, God, spill water upon me. They set up in a new place, the Forest of Dean, which I actually, because I've been sick recently, I've watched approximately 22 hours of Facebook Reels every day. Because I don't get on TikTok. I'm elderly. I watch Facebook Reels. And this account called like, where they post about like haunted staircases, haunted outdoor staircases or something. They were highlighting this creepy staircase in the Forest of Dean, like a stone staircase. Isn't that interesting?
Oh.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I think that it's inherently creepy there. And
Listen,
even more
places
creepier
in
if
Europe
you're
are
being
just going to be more
persecuted.
haunted because more people have died.
Yeah, because of population density.
Yeah.
Like pre-colonizing the U.S.
Yeah.
So, one snowy night, Harry is keeping watch, and he's totally good, and he's not losing it, and he knows exactly what he's doing. Everything's great. He doesn't have any anxiety or depression.
Or PTSD.
I was surprised that this happened so early in the chapter.
Yeah.
A bright silver light appears in the woods, and it is scroll up, the Silver Doe, which is the name of the chapter. And so the doe does like what my cat Penny does whenever there's a dog in the house, where she like looks over her shoulder and like flicks her little tail and is like, "Don't you just want to follow me?" Because Penny is the alpha to any dog. The doe starts walking away, and Harry, brilliant as always, just pursues her without telling Hermione and beyond the bounds of their safety. Josh, you're making a face. Would you have done this?
Well, no, and obviously, like, previous chapter aside, that obviously didn't matter in this context, we just came off of being attacked by a giant snake
Sure.
that came out of an old woman.
Yeah, it literally says, like, Harry just had a feeling that this one wasn't going to murder him.
But that was what he said the last time. He just had a feeling that this old lady, creepy old lady, is not going to murder him. Meanwhile, it was a whole ass snake.
Yes.
Listen,
Sure
Harry's a dumb jock, okay? His gut is about as right as a local weatherman, okay? Just...
Wait, so Ethan, would you have pursued the Patronus? What would you have done?
I mean, I am not a very observant person, so it may have taken me a while to even notice that it was there.
Okay, I will point out, I totally get that. It was a very bright light in, like, a dark, dark night.
Okay, so probably noticed.
And you're on, your whole job right now is being on guard.
Right. And the thing about me is that if somebody gives me a job, I will do exactly what they say to the letter. So if somebody tells me to keep watch, I'm going to do it. Like, I'll be curious about it, and I'd probably tell them, like, hey, this thing happened. I wonder if it's still out there. But I don't think I'd go.
Yeah, I think I probably would have awoken Hermione to come to try to troubleshoot this together. Like, I would have been like, what does that look like to you? A Patronus? What is a Patronus doing here? Does it seem hostile? Does it seem like it's looking for us? Harry doesn't do that straight up because he does not want to be told that he can't follow it.
Again, dumb jock.
Yeah, he really is.
I feel like that's a common theme in the later half of the series is like he wants yes men around him basically to be like, yeah, let's go do this. Yeah, you're the chosen one. Like, let's just do dumb shit that is gonna get us killed. And it's like he needs someone like Hermione. Why did I say it like that?
Hermione.
Hermione. Not me. Not Hermione. Yo. But anyway, so he should have woken her ass up and been like, "Hey, bitch, like, what do we do?" But instead, he does not.
Yeah, he really has, like, main character complex where he's like, I take the actions. And, like, you know, this chapter ends the way it ends, but think about how much trouble he would have been in if he had come home being, you know, without Ron, being like, I followed a strange creature into the woods, Hermione. She would have fucking tore him a new one.
You dumbass. You had one job, and you couldn't even do that.
Yeah. Or the opposite happens where, like, he straight up dies in this fucking, like, pond.
Because, like, what a way for a Death Eater to, like, lure him.
Yeah.
To, like, send, like, oh, like, I'm a Death Eater, but my Patronus is a bunny rabbit. Very unsuspicious. I'm gonna send my little bunny out there to hypnotize the stupidest man in the entire world.
Who also happens to be the chosen one.
Listen, despite being a wizard, Harry's intelligence stat is not very high.
Yeah, it's true. It's really true. I remember when I was playing Baldur's Gate, and I forget what character. Who's a wizard? Is it Gale?
It's
Gale.
Gale.
A wizard?
Yeah.
And Sean was like, "We really need to work on his wisdom. Like, what is going on here?" Just whiff after whiff.
Not a very perceptive man.
No. Oh, Gale. Why were you hitting on me when I've been an open lesbian with Shadowheart this entire time? Get out of here, Gale. We don't need you.
Also, why did Gale flirt with me in a dream sequence and not fuck me? I have questions.
He sucks.
He's like, let's look at the stars.
My first go around, I fucked Halsin. So
nice.
I mean,
bisexual boys be like, I fucked Halsin.
Listen, shut up. You're right, but shut up.
Every bisexual boy I know fucks Halsin.
Nature Daddy is just perfect, okay? That's just the way it is.
My problem with sorry, we're going on tangents, but
do it.
My character is also kind of a nature himbo tiefling situation, so I'm like, okay, too much nature. Like, I need some other shit.
Are you guys familiar with the word wook? Do you guys know what a wook is?
Is that short for Wookiee, or am I drawing the wrong conclusion here?
It is not short for Wookiee. A wook is, and a very small portion of our listeners are laughing really hard right now, in, like, the rave community, a wook is, I think, like, kind of similar to, like, a bear in the gay community, like a hairy man. But because it's the rave community, there's a bit of a stereotype of them, like, smelling bad, being really fucked up, having all the drugs. Don't fuck that guy, you know? To me, Halcyon has, like, big wook energy. I feel like a lot of girls are like, I've fucked that guy. It's not as good as you think it is. You know?
And then the boys are like, we're curious.
Ethan's face is scandalized right now. He's like, how dare you?
Listen, he is the nature daddy, okay? I will let him do whatever he wants. I am simply a hole for this man.
Guys, I think like 80% of the joy of a hot toddy is like before you take the sip and you accidentally like snort a whiff of like hot whiskey and it just clears your nose hole out.
Wow.
Tina, I am so sorry.
What?
I thought you snorted hot toddy out of your nose.
Oh no, just the scent, just the hot whiskey air. That's got to be a country song. I fell in love in the hot whiskey air.
Asks AI to make a country song, part 7,000.
Listen, AI made a country song that called Testicles Glue Balloons. Nothing is off limits here.
Oh,
my friends and I do love to tell AI, like, whatever we're goofing on. Well, there was one time we were really roasting Anna for eating a lot of cereal. We were like, write a movie script about a girl, or a movie pitch about a girl who's addicted to cereal. That's a great use of AI.
Oh, for sure.
Okay. So Doe exits pursued by Harry. And he follows her through the woods for a while until she suddenly vanishes. I don't know why I'm calling her she. I think that's one. Oh, Doe. Doe is inherently girl.
Doe a deer, a female deer.
Yes. You're right. How could I forget? That's like the first song I ever learned in my life.
I think me too. I could be wrong.
So he sees a pond, and at the bottom of the pond is the Sword of Gryffindor.
We have arrived at the reason why I chose this chapter.
Okay, you want to talk about it?
Tina, the reason I picked this chapter is because I have a similar experience to Harry.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
That is not where I thought you were going to go with this.
No, when I was 12 years old, I fell through a frozen creek.
Where do you live? Wait, where was that?
Kansas.
The lakes get that frozen in Kansas?
It was a creek. It wasn't a lake.
Oh, creek, okay. But, okay, so a follow-up question. The creeks are that deep in Kansas? Because the Virginia Creek is, like, 2 feet deep.
No, this particular one, it was up to my 12-year-old waist, however tall I was. It was probably, like, 5 something.
So tell us the whole story, unless you're deeply traumatized and don't want to relive it.
I've processed it.
Well, and also you volunteered for this, so
I did.
Tell us your trauma.
Yep. So, as the listeners may or may not know, I am an Eagle Scout, right? So
sure.
my Boy Scout troop, once a month we go camping. This particular month, this was our winter survival camp out, right? And we're at
Boy Scouts is so much harder than Girl Scouts. Like, and by harder, I mean like hardcore. Because my Girl Scout troop did makeup.
Okay, I've heard in more recent years it's become more like girl boss than like homemaker.
Okay, well, good, but not great.
Not
what
great.
About regular boss? What about regular?
I don't know, man.
What about regular Eagle Scout girl version?
Okay, that actually does exist too.
I'm sure it does.
There are like all girl troops of scouts that can earn Eagle now. It didn't used to be that way.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, keep telling your story. Sorry.
This happened in like 2017, 2018, somewhere in there. I am 12, so I'm dumb. And
Sure.
I am out on... And our adult leader specifically told us not to go out on this creek because... The ice.
Because you would fall in and
Because you'd
die.
fall in. Yeah.
Okay, and then what did Ethan do?
Ethan was a dumbass and said, hey, I'm light enough. I'll survive.
Wait, famous last words.
So I went out with my buddy, and we're, out on the creek. He's about probably 9 or 10 feet behind me. And, I come to a stop, and then I hear, like, a crack and a bubbling noise. And I'm like, shit.
This is how I die.
This is exactly the opposite of what I wanted to happen here. So the second mistake that I made was trying to jump.
Oh.
I tried to jump, and my feet went straight through the ice.
Sure.
Down to the bottom of the creek, up to my waist. My buddy runs to go get the adults. They pull me out. I almost get hypothermia.
Oh my god. Okay, so did your head go under at any point?
No. It was only up to my waist.
Okay.
It was only up to my waist.
Good start.
But I couldn't move my legs.
Oh, yeah, because you were
cold.
fucking locked into the ice.
Yeah. Eventually, they were able to pull me out. Took probably 3 people to get me out of there.
And what did they say to you when they got you out?
What the hell did we tell you not to do? Or it's probably more accurately, what were you thinking? And I said, I wasn't.
I thought I knew more than my adult supervisors. What do you call them? Chaperones.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all been there.
They actually, so they had me change clothes to get, like, the cold, wet stuff off of me, and they put me inside of a trash bag with a hole cut out from my head to warm up. Because
Whoa, did that work?
It did.
Whoa. Interesting. Okay, it's like one of those, like, heat-reflective blankets, kind of.
Basically, yeah, but we didn't have those.
Yeah. We ain't got funding for that.
Nope.
Interesting. Okay, well, I'm glad you survived, Ethan. That would have been so sad if you had died during that event and we had never become friends.
Yeah. That was probably... That was a good long while before I met you, so...
Damn, our only rule in Girl Scouts was no burning hair. Because it smells bad.
That's still a good rule. You shouldn't do that.
It is a good rule. No, I remember one time we only did once a year camping in Girl Scouts because Nova girls. And I remember one year we were camping and the weather was fine. I'll maintain the weather was fine, but there was a tornado watch, which we know the difference between a tornado watch and a tornado warning. One of those is a yellow alert. The other one is a red alert. But when they announced the tornado watch, my 2, what do you call them? Counselors? What are they called? The leaders.
Counselors, leaders, depends on how old they are.
No, there's a word for it. Troop leader? I don't know. They fucking panicked. They lost their minds. They were so scared, and it made we were like 7, to be clear. We were quite young, and all of the girls were so scared. My friend Anna threw up because she was so scared. And they made us leave all of our stuff because they had to, and then they just fucking dumped me on my stoop at like 2 a.m. because they were so terrified of this tornado watch. It's like my only Girl Scout camping memory.
Did you get your stuff back?
I did not know that y'all got tornadoes in Virginia. I thought that was
we
just
don't. There's no good reason. We get plenty of tornado watches. It's almost never a tornado warning. It's happened like twice in my lifetime. Both, I think, in the last like 8 years. There's no reason to panic about a tornado. And Josh, to answer your question, I think they had to go back the next morning to get all of our stuff. It was crazy. Adults who are responsible for children should learn how to underreact. You know what I'm saying? Not
stay
freak
calm
out.
during
Stay calm. Yeah, stay calm during a crisis. And these were like parents of kids in the troop, so it's like,
yeah.
Don't you know? Whatever. So Harry, he's like sword at bottom of pond, Accio. The sword's like, nah, you know what you need to do.
Nah, fam. You gotta go through adversity.
As a reminder to those who may not remember, this, what's called Patronus, is Snape's. Snape put the sword here. Snape is trying to figure out how to, because he's I'm gonna put this in really dramatic quotes, good guy, for the sake of the vanquish Voldemort, not vanquish Voldemort issue. He's a good guy. And he's like, how do I get Harry the sword without Harry realizing that I'm giving him the sword? So he's like, what would a fucking stupid-ass Gryffindor believe? That he has to overcome adversity to get this sword. I have so many issues with this despite that, because Why couldn't he swim to the bottom of this lake in September? Why couldn't he climb to the top of a tree? Why couldn't the adversity be following the doe through the woods? Why couldn't it be at the bottom of a creek that only goes up to his knees so he can stick his... Like, why does it have to be this? This is so extra. This could have killed him. And it almost did.
Yeah, I know people voluntarily do, like, polar plunges for the hell of it. You will not catch me within 100-mile radius of those.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, absolutely not. And also, like, don't you have to kind of, like, train a little bit if you're going to, like, just be jumping your whole body into freezing water?
Yeah,
and
like, even doing ice baths is almost too much for me because of what happened with that.
And, like, delicate little Harry Potter simply could never. And, in fact, he doesn't.
No.
Takes 2 Gryffindors to get this done.
So many problems I have with this. A, he strips all the way down to his underwear.
Okay, Josh.
Which...
There's a very good reason he did that.
Well, yeah, now that I say that, you are right. That it is probably good for the hypothermia reason. However, I feel like he's not really thinking it completely through of
he
like
is
a
not
plan.
Through. Yeah, he is
like,
because like I would be like, okay, this would be a great time to have Hermione, like a lifeguard. Like,
yeah,
what happens when you can't get out again?
Yeah,
like,
and I guarantee that there's some sort of rope or something that they had back at camp that could have tied around one of their waists, or use a pole from the tent to try to drag it closer to you. I don't know, like anything.
I feel like Harry's worried that if he walks away, it'll disappear, and I kind of get that, even though it doesn't make any sense. But like, hey, you know how you just followed a Patronus into the woods? Maybe you could like send Hermione a Patronus to go get her. Or anything. Yeah. Anything. There's so many other things I would have done than this.
This may be a fault of Joanne's inconsistent magic system.
She has faults?
Oh, God. I thought Patronuses were a concentration spell. You could only do it for as long as you were actively making it happen.
Okay, but, like, he could have sent it... Like, what I'm saying is, like, don't go into the water until Hermione arrives. So, like, sit there and concentrate on that. If you don't want to take your eyes off the sword, sit there and concentrate on the spell until Hermione arrives. Don't go into freezing cold... Hey, everyone. Hey, listeners. Don't go into freezing cold water alone. You might fucking die.
That's fair. I didn't, and it was still bad.
Ugh.
I just... So, but what does Harry do? He goes in. So he is like, this is what a Gryffindor would do. I have to Gryffindor the Gryffindor sword.
And I'm like, oh my God, you sound like people who make Harry Potter their personality.
Yes.
I was like, no, not this.
Yeah, it's just like, I'm so tired of like this trope, and it's all over Once Upon a Time, like the sacrificing yourself one-upmanship. Like, it's like, I sacrifice myself for you. No, I sacrifice myself. Well, I'm gonna fucking kill myself by jumping into a freezing pond because that's how myself. It's just, I'm over it. It's dumb. It's dumb of you.
That's literally the whole part of Hawkeye and Black Widow in Endgame.
Yeah.
And,
oh
Avengers
my God,
Endgame.
I'm so over it. Yeah,
literally one-upping each other.
But I said this in the intro, but it is like big Dauntless energy. Are either of you familiar with Divergent?
I have read the trilogy. It has been a long time.
Well, you may remember that the Dauntless are like, let's jump off a train. Let's jump off a building.
Parkour.
Let's
That's
jump
the one thing I remember
pond.
from the movie is them doing parkour.
Parkour. Yeah, so that was big parkour era too. That was like 2010 or whatever. But yeah, the way that it's like, what would a Gryffindor do is like very Triss and Divergent being like, what would a Dauntless do? So he jumps in. Would you believe that it's freezing?
Wow.
His whole body seizes up, and then he dives for the sword, which the movie makes it seem like this is an approximately like a 15-foot body of water. I kind of forget what impression the book gives. Because 15 feet is kind of deep if you're
I don't
It's deeper than most public pools, at least where I am.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I don't think the book really gave an impression.
Yeah,
No,
I kind of
not
agree
really.
with that. Oh my god, they talk for so long. Let me see. Accio sword. He had to try Accio sword. It would have been, that's the smartest thing he did, was trying
It's
that
the
thing.
path of least resistance.
I'm just trying to see if it says, bottom of the
See
pool.
it. Yeah, doesn't say how deep it is.
It just says it was not deep, but he would have to submerge himself completely. I'm gonna give it maybe 8 to 10 feet.
Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds right.
That's doable, but like
It's doable in a swimming pool in July.
right. Not
In broad daylight.
random pond in
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting it's nighttime.
January. Yeah.
It is fucking nighttime right now. Okay.
And also, there's so many things to this. Like, obviously, he still has a freaking Horcrux on. Why?
Because I don't know, man.
I mean, I get it.
Fucking
Like,
forgot.
like, God forbid somebody came up and stole it. But like,
Yeah. You couldn't like tie it around your cot in the tent and just leave it.
that's not what I thought you said.
Tied around his cock.
Listen, if you want to use a Horcrux like a cock ring, that's your business, but I, for one, would not.
Yeah, that burning sensation would not feel good.
Have you ever
No.
sucked the devil's dick? Yeah, I mean, it might not. Okay, this is one thing I'll give him. It might not have occurred to me that the Horcrux would react to the sword of Gryffindor, and it does. As the second he touches the sword, the Horcrux reacts and starts strangling him. Like, over your dead body is what the Horcrux says.
Yep.
I would argue that I would think that it would react to the
Okay.
sword. Like,
Okay.
because
Yeah.
it was, I mean, obviously it was reacting to Nagini and the whole situation there. And I don't know, just after that, I would be a little more precautious about...
Remind me,
Yeah.
what did it do when Nagini?
It stuck itself to his chest.
Yeah, it did.
And it was like burning him, and I feel like it's doing something similar in the
You're
sense
right.
of like
It's
almost
acting
killing
of
him.
it's acting of its own accord for sure, which is
Right.
alarming on all fronts.
Right.
God damn it, Joanne, you gotta rip off Lord of the Rings this way, too.
But yeah, I don't know. Didn't we already kind of establish at this point that like Voldemort wanted all of those house items or whatever? Wasn't he like trying to collect them for something? I'm sorry. if I'm
For the
misremembering.
Horcrux, yeah, he
Yeah.
was for the Horcruxes.
Right.
Yeah, so we
And I
got...
think-
yeah, the only one
Go
he
ahead.
wasn't to get was the sword, right? Because he got the diadem, the cup, and... What was the Slytherin one?
The locket.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and I think that, if I'm remembering correctly, I think maybe in the last book before Dumbledore died, he was like, I think we can all agree that he probably didn't get something from Gryffindor, because why would he?
Right. So wait, is this locket the Slytherin locket?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So then I would absolutely, like, I don't know.
Okay.
Just
It would react. It would react to the
could
sword of
and
Gryffindor.
would, yeah. So I
Okay.
I don't know. Just my...
Okay.
Just
Yeah, I kind of
other-
forgot about the sticking thing that happened quite recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, this is how I die. And then somebody grabs him and drags him out and rips the Horcrux off of him. And he's like... Okay, for a second, you just gotta like... Yeah. And then he's like, who the fuck? Well, actually, hold on. Hold on. Are you mental? And Harry's like, wait, I know that pissed off voice.
The
That's
somehow
Ronald Weasley.
bigger dumbass, Ronald Weasley, jumps in fully clothed and retrieves him.
He had to because it was time sensitive. I support this choice.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes. I understand the time
Gryffindor.
sensitivity, but generally do not go into water with clothes on.
Yeah, I agree with that entirely. You're not allowed to do it in the pool because you might get sucked away. Harry is like, what? And Ron is like, no, what the fuck? So it took 2 Gryffindors to get this task done, and Snape behind the trees is like, fucking Gryffindors. I can't believe it took 2 of you. Ron, where the fuck did you come from? Snape in the trees, just like, that was a really close one. I almost killed the chosen one.
Hey, Neville's still out there. It'll be all right.
So Ron has the sword and the Horcrux. He saved Harry, but he did not cast the Patronus. So what? Do you guys remember reading this for
Patronus
the first?
A dog.
I think it is. It's a terrier specifically. Ethan, do you remember reading this for the first time?
When I read this for the first time, it was probably shortly either before or after the movie came out, because, and that's really when I started like getting into it, because the first Harry Potter movie that I remember seeing in theaters was Half-Blood Prince. Which, like, I was so confused. It's like my uncle and my cousin were going to the movies, and they were like, hey, Ethan, you want to come to the movies with us? And I was like, sure. And I went with them, and we watched it, and I was like, what the hell is going on?
That's really late to try to jump in.
Yeah.
Well, and then my cousin was like, I'll let you borrow my books. And I'm like, okay, great. And at this time, reading hadn't been ruined for me. So
Sure.
I blazed through the entire Harry Potter series between 2009 and 2011.
Uh-huh. Cool. So do you remember reading, like, this book specifically for the first time? Like, I guess I'm wondering, do you remember what you thought was happening here with the dough?
I wasn't sure what was happening. My little 11-year-old brain didn't pick up on symbolism.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely wasn't like, Snape must be in love with Harry's mother, who must...
No.
Obviously, Lily's Patronus was the girl version of Harry's dad's Patronus. Obviously, Harry's Patronus is the same as his dad. Patronuses are inherited, as you know. The coughing. Josh, do you remember reading this or watching the movie for the first time?
Yes, kind of. But I also kind of forgot the plot point about it being Snape's Patronus, apparently.
Yeah.
No, I remembered that from the movie specifically.
Yeah.
There's a flashback to him in Dumbledore's office talking about that.
Oh, yeah, and he's like...
Oh, got it.
So stupid. Sorry.
No, shoot. I probably shouldn't say. Does Mary Clay listen to this podcast?
No, there's no chance in hell she's listening.
Snape has a worse redemption arc than Kylo Ren.
I mean, for sure. For sure.
I don't even know how that's possible, but it is.
Snape is the archetype of the anti-redemption.
Yeah.
Honestly.
But wait, so I'm a little... Okay.
Let us help you.
Okay. So the Doe Patronus is Snape's Patronus?
Yes. Snape is present right now.
Okay.
He's hiding.
No, I get that. That
Okay.
part I'm on board with. What I'm confused about is that Harry's Patronus is a stag, correct?
Yes. Because here's the thing. If this was real life, which it's not because it's a dumb fantasy book, people's Patronuses would reflect consistently their character. The way that, like, I think Hermione's is an otter. Ron's is a terrier. Other people have... Kingsley Shacklebolt, his is like a lynx or something. Okay, so, like, your Patronus is supposed to reflect your character.
Yeah.
But because J.K. Rowling is, like, a lazy writer who likes to, like, convenientify things and, like, lazify her symbolism, she has made it so that it all comes down to, like, Harry's dad, James, has this stag Patronus. And because this entire universe revolves around James Potter, his wife, Lily, I don't know if she was born with a doe Patronus because she was always meant to find... It's like a dumb, lazy writing thing. Lily, his mom, her Patronus is a doe because Lily and James go together. So it's like a stag, a boy deer, and it's like a doe, a girl deer. Okay. Because Snape was in love with Lily, his Patronus changed to become a doe Patronus like Lily's.
Does this mean Snape is trans? Does that mean Snape is a trans man?
Sure as hell doesn't. It does not at all. What's up, Josh?
Okay, so then by that logic, that implies...
The bad logic.
Very bad logic. Like, Harry's Patronus is a stag, and Snape's is now a doe Patronus.
So they're destined to be together.
Exactly. So like that logic makes no sense. That's why I was
bad writing.
confused. Yeah.
Like the way that this would be if Lily wasn't just a part of these men's stories, if she was her own person in the real world, her Patronus would have been a Gyarados or like something. Why is that the first animal that came to me? Her Patronus would have been like a bunny or like one of those fennec foxes or like something scary and big.
Sure.
A peacock, a bear. Yeah. Like it's because of the lazy writing and like Lily Evans exists to serve the men whose stories are more important around her. That's why her Patronus is a doe.
Like I almost wish that it was just like Lily from, wherever her spirit is, because we've had those like kind of signs before, right? Like
they do always like come from something. Like the Lily ghosts always like come from something. So it could have like an explanation.
Like we could have just made it like, oh, the sword somehow imbued the spirit.
Okay, or
of Lily Jane, something.
Right now, Harry Potter is currently, he doesn't know it, but he is currently in possession of the Resurrection Stone, one of the Deathly Hallows. So that could have been a potential explanation that she came from it. What I thought when I was a kid and this first came out and I was reading it, what I thought was that this was somehow going to come back to Harry's dad. I thought that there must be some misunderstanding here and it was like the Stag Patronus, because we already had in book 3 the Stag Patronus thing,
Yeah.
So I thought it was going to be like Harry's dad was alive the whole time or like something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So... yeah, the Patronuses are like bad writing, bad logic. As a reminder, Mr. Weasley's Patronus is a weasel.
So that means Ron should have a weasel, right? If we're trying to keep that consistent.
Molly should have a girl weasel.
Obviously.
So stupid. Ooh, show me what's an animal where the girl is like much, much larger than the boy? Like a black widow or whatever. Show me one of those.
I think there's like reptiles where that's the case.
Yeah.
Or like a seahorse, Yeah. To get the men pregnant.
Because let's see.
That's all right. We can just dream. We can imagine.
The spotted hyena.
Okay, hyena. That would be a spotted hyena would be a cool. Okay, whale less cool.
Spiders, fish, many reptiles.
Ooh,
I'm sticking with
Patronus,
hyena.
though? Like, imagine a whale Patronus coming up to you in the middle of the forest. Like, what?
I guess.
Oh, anglerfish. That's the big one. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because that's one where the male attaches and becomes like part of the female.
Part of her body, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, we are one in the eyes of the Lord.
We are gathered here today.
So, it's Ronald Weasley. So, like, Ron's like, maybe I saw someone over there casting the doe, but like, no one is there now. Snape's gone. They're like, who was that? Doesn't matter. There's so many other more important things right now. It's time to test the sword by destroying the Horcrux.
Great idea.
Harry tells Ron to do it, and Harry's like, I just have this feeling in my heart that it should be you. But I believe that this is revenge. He's like, oh, you want to leave me? And you're just going to come back? Okay, you kill the fucking Horcrux. No, we'll be good as soon as you kill the fucking Horcrux, Ronald.
Yeah, that's kind of the tone he gets, like, afterwards. Because he's like, oh, well,
from Hermione, yeah.
Well, no, even from Harry, too. Because, I mean, we'll get there, but sorry.
Yeah.
I'll talk about it then.
So Ron is like, no, this Horcrux affects me worse. I hate to break it to you, Ron. That's because you have undiagnosed depression. Okay, but we'll talk about that in a later book.
I'm pretty sure there aren't wizard therapists.
Hard no. So Harry tells the Horcrux to open the locket to open in Parseltongue, and it does. And inside is an eye. And then it starts talking to Ron, and Ron gets kind of like hypnotized by it. And Harry is like, kill it! Kill it! Ron, stab it! You have the sword! Kill it! But Ron's like, let's see what it has to say first.
Yeah.
So, I love this part. This part in the movies is so upsetting. Okay, little Harry.
No.
Why do they have to be naked in the movie? Nobody asked for that.
Thank you. I completely agree. Why do they have to be naked? Little Harry and Hermione. Well, and I think in the book they're small. They're locket sized, but in the movie they are
you get this
larger
Lovecraftian horror that comes out of the locket.
It's upsetting. So Harry and Hermione come out of the locket and start talking shit. They're like, your mom likes both of us better because we're better, and you suck, and Ginny said that you suck, and I love tonguing your sister and your girlfriend, and your mom says that I'm the best son she ever had. Like, all this shit. And then Harry and Hermione, the little ones in the locket, they start making out, and that is what activates Ronald. He gets activated, and he stabs it. And he is crying. And this is upsetting to him, but it's also catharsis. Thank you, Voldemort, for this catharsis.
Yes, thank you.
He's like crying, and then Harry does what is perhaps the most empathetic thing he has done in this entire series, where he's like, hey man, she's like my sister. Like, I really thought you knew that. And because they're British teenage boys, there's a lot that's being said without it being said. Like, I wish we could have talked about this sooner. Like, please never doubt me again. Like, Hermione, I would never ever tongue her the way that you just witnessed. And Daniel Radcliffe and Emma Watson had to do that.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, God, yeah.
So something that's always confused me is, how does stage kissing happen?
Oh, I think that stage kissing in movies is very real.
Okay.
Personally, if I were an actor, I would never dream of not actually kissing the person.
That's fair.
But I'm also a big kisser. I love to kiss. Don't come near me. Yeah. I have COVID, but any other day.
Not the num.
Tina's that aunt that always like pinches the niece and nephew's cheeks.
Oh my god. Are either of you like familiar with Adventure Time? Know
I've
the
watched
episodes?
all of it.
Okay, there's an episode where Finn and Jake both like broke their feet or something, and there's a bunch of like clown nurses in their house that are like making them feel better with kisses, and the clown nurses are very scary, and they're just like, oh, and Finn is like, I'm getting the fuck out of here, and Jake is like, I respect that, I'm having a great time, I'm gonna stay right here. I watched that today.
Love that.
Okay, so they hug, y'all.
Yeah,
Ron and Harry.
I was listening to the audiobook version, not with Jim Dale, but I was like...
You do the YouTubes.
Yeah, I do the YouTubes. But at first, like, Harry kind of, like, puts his hand on his shoulder, and I was going to be like, hey, guys, is it gay to, like, hug your best friend after a traumatic experience? But then they did hug, and I was like, okay, I can't make that joke anymore.
I don't think they maybe ever hug ever again, or before this, but they hug right now when it matters.
Yeah, that's good.
And, like, it's kind of like, Harry does this authentically, they're having an authentic moment, but also, it's like, okay, what this means now is that you're not allowed to have irrational jealousy anymore because we've done this already. Okay, Ron?
We have processed this.
We have processed this, okay? Now, any hangups you have are your problem now.
I also don't really like how Harry's like, well, this kind of makes up for it now that you've, like, destroyed a Horcrux. And, you know, but you, like, left us for God knows how long, you know? I was like... It's such a shitty way to, like, address, you know... Because I feel like Ron did have a good reason why he was angry, but, like, there just wasn't a good, healthy experience to talk that out.
Yeah, he had no outlet, and like he could not leave physically, which is what fucked him, because I know we've all been in a situation where we're mad and we need to leave physically, and he unfortunately just did that even though he like couldn't.
Right.
That's what fucked him up. Yeah.
Right. And they're in like this pressure cooker where like Harry is like so wrapped up in the fact that everybody's trying to kill him, which is good.
They are, yeah.
But he also has two friends that are trying to help him. So, like, there's all of that shit. But, like, they've also been doing this for 7 years. Like, of course Ron is angry because he has to always save his ass, you know?
I know, but on the flip side, when Ron was so mad because it's like, I thought you knew what you were doing. And it's like, when the fuck has Harry Potter ever known what he was doing?
True.
Don't act like you thought he knew.
No, Harry's a shoot first, ask questions later kind of dude.
Yeah,
and like Ron with this fucking sword bullshit.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
so like I would probably forgive Ron right away.
I would.
Yeah, I would too.
And I will clarify that if Ron is my best friend, I would forgive him right away.
Yeah.
If Ron and I were at the beginning of a kindling romance and he walked out on me like that when I was crying and screaming and begging for him not to go, that would take me a lot longer to get over.
I believe
that's a deeper betrayal, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Hermione's reaction is warranted.
Let's get to it, because I fucking love it. I fucking love it.
Listen, we support women's rights and women's wrongs.
Yes. They go back to the tent and they wake Hermione. And I almost never do this anymore because I don't care about this book or this podcast. But oh my God, I care about this podcast. I love you guys. I pulled out the book because I think this scene is really good. Okay, so Hermione, they're waking her up. She stirs, then she sits up and is like, "What's wrong? Are you all right?" And it's okay. Everything's fine. More than fine. I'm great. There's someone here. There could only be one person here. You know what I mean? It's not going to be like Neville. It's not going to be like Bill Weasley. Like, it's going to be Ron. Only one person could be here. But she's asleep. So she's like, "What?" Okay.
Also, it's fine. I'm completely naked. Don't worry about it.
Oh my God. He puts all of his clothes on.
He puts his clothes back on.
Oh,
does
okay.
He even dry off? Wait, does he even fucking dry off?
I don't think so. He's still wet.
You are
They're
a wizard.
both still wet.
You are a wizard. Okay, because here's the thing. As I've mentioned a lot of times before in podcast land, I used to have a real anger problem. I used to have a real emotional control problem. Hermione does not have those things, but I really, when I was 16 and this book came out, let's just say I really related to her reaction in this scene. Okay, so she looks at Ron, her eyes upon his pale face. She stops right in front of him, her lips slightly parted, her eyes wide. Ron gave a weak, hopeful smile and half raised his arms. Oh, you stupid idiot. You should have kept your distance. Hermione launched herself forward and started punching every inch of him that she could reach. And this is so funny because this is a Weasley family reaction. This is not a Hermione reaction. Resorting immediately to punches? That's Fred and George coded.
That's some Fred and George bullshit, for sure.
Oh, get off. What the? You complete ass. Ronald Weasley. She punctuated every word with a blow. Ron backed away, shielding his head as Hermione advanced. Okay. I love this. You should never hit. Okay, in relationships, you should never hit. That's domestic abuse. Also, when you're 16 and you don't know how to control your feelings, and it's kind of not that big of a deal when you just are weak and like punch someone because you're so fucking mad at them and you've been wronged really badly. Okay, it's like not that big of a deal. I'm not gonna say that I want couples to be punching each other, but when I was like 19 and I got cheated on, I punched him. You know? Because I got fucking cheated on.
Is your right.
Yes. Yeah. This is a similar energy. I respect it. So then, Harry, for the first time in his life, puts up a shield to keep two people away. He's not an instigator. He's just watching in, I think, utter bemusement. He's like, this has nothing to do with me. I'm good.
He's like, for once it's not about me. Yes. For once it's not about me, and I love it.
He probably is a little satisfied that Ron is getting this level of punishment. He probably is also happy to see Hermione animated, right? Come to life. I would be very bemused by this. Okay, so the shield erupts between Ron and Hermione. The force of it knocked her backward onto the floor. Shouldn't have knocked Hermione backward onto the floor. Spitting hair out of her mouth, she leapt up again. Hermione said, Harry, calm. I wish my throat didn't hurt because I will not calm down, she screamed. I have been this bitch more times than I would care to admit. Never before had he seen her lose control like this. She looked quite demented. Okay. Now we're getting into a bit of the misogynist language.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, no, not this.
She's having an extreme emotional reaction. I think that the female gaze would call this, she looked quite passionate. She looked quite frustrated. She looked quite overcome with emotion. Demented? Yeah. You mean the same thing that we named the Dementors after? No. Give me back my wand. This is quite funny in the movie, I think. They're almost good comic actors by this time, and she turns around and is like, give me my wand. And Harry's like, oh, what wand? Oh, nothing.
Also, Harry, I don't know if anybody told you this. The last thing you want to tell somebody when they're angry is to calm down.
I know, Sean and I were tiffing before this recording, and I was like, I'm trying to be very calm about this. And he said, you're upset. And I was like, I'm not upset. And he was like, no, you're upset. And I was like, okay, now I'm upset.
That's Frank whenever we get into a phase and I'm just kind of like quiet or whatever because I don't want to say something I don't want to, have to apologize for later. And he'll be like, why are you frumpy? And I'm like, I'm not.
Frumpy?
Yeah, that's his word.
That's like, so mean.
Yeah, he's like, why are you frumpy? And I'm like, I'm not frumpy.
I'm processing.
Yeah, and he's like, why are you frumpy? And I'm like, I'm frumpy now!
Wait, I'm going to start using that with Sean. That'll help break the tension when we argue. Oh, LOL, remember when Josh and Frank fight? Isn't that so funny? No, that's probably really good to be like, wait, all couples fight. Oh, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of which, Hermione, will you please don't you tell me what to do, Harry Potter? She double names him. She calls him Harry Potter.
Use the full government name. We love to see it.
She screeched.
Not screeched.
She said, don't you dare give it back now, and you. She was pointing at Ron in dire accusation. It was like a malediction, and Harry could not blame Ron for retreating several steps. And this is when she says, I came running after you. I called you. I begged you to come back. And this is upsetting. It's upsetting. She's been playing this scene over and over in her head for weeks, Yeah.
This is an argument she's had in the shower.
Yes, R.I.P. She probably hasn't showered in weeks either, but... I actually think there might be a shower in this fancy tent.
It's a magic tent. It could have full indoor plumbing for all we know.
I know, Ron said. Hermione, I'm sorry. I'm really... Okay, and this is what I relate to the most. I don't really get like this anymore, but definitely when I was younger, I would get like this. She's like, I ran after you. I begged you. I know, Ron said. Hermione, I'm sorry. I'm really... Oh, you're sorry. She laughed. A high-pitched, out-of-control sound. Ron looked at Harry for help, but Harry merely grimaced his helplessness. The laughter... That's a different kind of mad.
Mm-hmm.
I've been there. Have you guys been there so mad that you're like cackling about it?
Yes.
And you feel possessed by a demon. Yeah. Yeah. It's been a while. Many years, but boy howdy, has a man said something to me that made me shriek in angry laughter. Yeah. Sometimes men be that way, like respectfully. Obviously, you guys are lowercase men. I'm talking about capitalized men.
Men be that way.
Sometimes they say something so stupid like, why are you mad? I only cheated on you a year ago. You can't be mad about it now.
Bro.
Not this.
Who raised you? Why do you think that's okay?
Her name was Barbara. His mom. Okay, so basically... Okay, wait, I'm almost done reading it line for line. You come back after weeks, and you think it's all going to be all right if you just say sorry? Well, what else can I say, Ron shouted, and Harry was glad that Ron was fighting back. Okay. Oh, I don't know, yelled Hermione with awful sarcasm. I have also been doing awful sarcasm. Rack your brains, Ron. That should only take a couple of seconds.
We gonna be apologizing for that comment later.
That's good. That's good, though. That's really good. Yeah. Hermione interjected Harry, who considered this a low blow. Guys, my cat just walked up because he thinks I'm upset because I'm like shrieking and crying. It's okay, Dante. I'm doing a fake fight. Can you go sit in your bed in the window?
Yeah,
Mommy's recording.
Yeah. Harry's like, listen, I can excuse desertion, but I draw the line at calling him dumb.
Yeah, like literally. Well, Harry forgave him the second he showed up, you know?
Yeah.
And Hermione, yeah, she's going to need some work.
Quick side note, I think if Hermione would have been present during the whole lake thing.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, she needed help getting Harry out of the water or something, and then Ron came in and helped her, I think this would be a different situation. I think she still would have had a similar reaction at first, but,
yes,
like, then kind of softened.
Because I was thinking, how funny would it be if Harry's, like, dying, and Hermione can't get him out, and she's like, Ron, help me, and Ron shows up, helps her get Harry out. They're like, what do we do? The Horcrux! And then they kill the Horcrux, and then they're all just sitting there like, Ron, you fucking jackass. You think you can just walk back up in here, save Harry's life, get us the Sword of Gryffindor, say you're sorry, and I'm just gonna be cool with it? I don't think so.
Or she just walks over and, like, slaps him or punches him in the face.
Oh, yeah, and then
like,
just walks back to camp.
And then it's just like, okay, I feel better now. Yeah, like the Malfoy move. But
come here, baby.
Yeah, but
Baby.
Yeah.
Cat.
I love that scene a lot. You know, it's a good, every once in a while, J.K. Rowling writes some words, and I'm like, those were all right. We could have done without demented and shrill, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Shrill has this connotation. I do think it's appropriate. Sometimes this is perhaps a time when shrill is appropriate. I think it's the connotation more than anything else that makes it bad in moments like this, because it's probably an apt adjective.
I feel like shrill is more used for when women are angry.
Yeah. But she's really next level right now, so like...
Right.
She's probably shrill.
Yeah, if there wasn't a consistency with using misogynistic language to describe women, it would be a different connotation.
If this was her only shrill, I'd let it go.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so this is so funny because I just read like 2 whole pages from the book. My notes just say, this is the whole thing. She is livid. I have like 6 H's in and it just says she is livid. And then I go on. Time for Ron's story. So Ron tells his story. When he left, he disapparated away. He immediately got caught by snatchers. We're like, what snatchers? They're snatching people. He told them he was Stan Shunpike, which is crazy because the Weasleys are kind of a notorious family. And I feel like the way that this magical world works, they're so, like... I just think that they would be like, you're definitely a Weasley, my dude.
Yeah, because they're clearly the only redheaded family in all of the wizarding community in Britain.
That's how it seems sometimes.
Right. Also, aren't the Snatchers, like, ministry hired people, like bounty hunters or whatever?
They are, yes. Yeah. They're like, what's the word? Word? Mercenaries.
Mercenaries.
Yeah, they're not like ministry employees.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They're contracted out.
Yeah, they're like any dude.
Oh, okay.
All dudes, obviously.
Okay.
No girls allowed.
I guess my point to that is like, well, I guess they sound really dumb, so I guess they don't have any information about like who works at the ministry I think former employees or whatever, you know?
I just think that like it's not hard to know the main guy we're looking for is Harry Potter. He's traveling with this bitch and this guy. Like, oh, you look like that guy. You know? Like,
right.
Yeah.
But he got away, he apparated, he splinched himself. And he did not have Hermione this time, and she probably, in her mood, is like fucking good.
You deserve it.
By the time he found the campsite again, they were gone. We talk a little bit about what happened in Godric's Hollow, and then Ron explains the Deluminator. How the Deluminator, the put outer, I think is what the book calls it sometimes, led him back to them. It spoke to him in Hermione's voice, and he clicked it, and it made a light, and it went inside of him, and he disapparated, and it led him to their previous campsite, and then he did it again, which brought him to this campsite.
I don't know if you have the book open still, but
I do.
I really enjoyed the part where Hermione's like, "Oh my god, you lost 2 fingernails. Oh my god." You know, that really puts it in perspective because we were just attacked by a fucking giant snake.
Oh yeah.
And you know what? That definitely didn't scar us for life. But yes, 2 fingernails are lost. Oh my god.
And it's so funny because that probably is really horrible to lose 2 fingernails.
I've lost a toenail, and that was pretty bad.
Yeah, that sounds upsetting. So yeah, Ron's talking about the Deluminator, and there's this really funny line in the movies that's not in the book where after Hermione goes away or whatever, Ron's like, "Do you think she'll ever forgive me?" And Harry's like, "Just keep talking about little light balls with her voice going into your heart. She'll come around." And I think that's very funny because this does sound kind of made up, like he wants her to sympathize.
Yeah.
He's like, I heard your voice and there was a light and it went
You brought me
inside
back
me."
to you. Yeah. This wasn't even my idea, Hermione. It was you. It was you all along.
Not me, not Harry. Yeah.
But he is kind of like saying something here. When he talks about the Deluminator, even though it's like a factual story, we guess, he's saying like, you are still very special to me. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ron has a spare wand from the Snatchers. He gives it to Harry, and then Hermione goes to bed.
She's like, I've had enough.
She's had enough. She's like, maybe I'll wake up not mad tomorrow, but she's wrong. This is something that they're like 50 years old. And she's like, remember that one time you abandoned us in the woods when we were fighting the most evil wizard of our generation? And he's like, yeah, okay, I'll take out the trash.
Bring it up every single time.
They're like in therapy, and Ron's like, I just want us to get to a point where she doesn't bring that up anymore. Yeah. Ethan, do you have any final words about the chapter?
I do like this chapter because it gives us the reunification of the trio, because it seems like it's a really unfortunate trope where like authors will like break up friend groups over bullshit, and that only for this to happen.
Yeah.
But like this is the first time I really experienced it. So because I've had falling outs with friends before and been able to come back to them, this also resonates with me.
Yeah. Same. It's like the best feeling in the world when you were like, oh wait, we were both kind of wrong and we're just over it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Josh, any last words about the chapter?
I do love that it kind of gives Ron a more heroic light because you know, he's always like the comical one. He's always kind of the goofy, like cowardly, like Shaggy type. To bring it back in.
That's exactly right.
To all the other fandoms. But yeah, I think it gives him a good character development. It's sad that it happens in the 7th book, but you know, it's better late than never, I guess, you know. I mean, he's had other like heroic moments, but I think this is really kind of the big turning point for him to realize like, hey, I am needed in this trio.
Of course he's had heroic moments. Don't you remember when he said, not me, no Hermione. Yo. Let's see if we can bring it up one more time before the
You've said this like 5 times at this point.
I will say
and it's not even this meme was like very popular like 4 months ago. It's not even, it's kind of out of fashion. My words about the chapter are, I like it. I think the dialogue was like I like this chapter. I think the dialogue was good. Like I liked it. Everything that happened, I was like, I'm interested in this. Deeply different from the last chapter and kind of the next chapter. Ethan, where can the people find you on the internet?
Yeah, so you can, basically the only social media I use is Instagram at this point, /threads if you're on there.
/ your podcast.
That's true. I'll get to that. I'm at ethan.t.hulen, that is Hulen, on both of those platforms. You can find my podcast wherever pods are cast, Mysteries in the Machine. Follow the podcast on Instagram at Mysteries in the Machine Pod. We're on a bit of a hiatus right now, but we should be back soon. Let me double check the schedule. Yeah, we're going to be back July 22nd. So
okay, so 2 days ago when this episode comes out.
Yeah.
Also, my birthday.
Sorry
happy birthday to me. No, happy birthday to me, Mysteries in the Machine.
Woo! Yeah, every Monday wherever pods are cast.
Awesome. And what is something you've been reading, watching, playing, listening to, thinking about, exploring lately you think the listeners would enjoy?
I have been playing a ton of Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga on PS5.
Oh, nice.
Absolutely, because the first video game I ever remember playing was Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga for the PS2, and there was a sale on May the 4th, because of course there was, and yes. I was curious, and the game came out like 2 years ago, and I was like, I wanted to play this, but I didn't have anything to play it on, and now I do. So I got it that day, and I've just been playing the hell out of it ever since.
Hell yeah.
Awesome. Josh, where can the listeners find you on the internet?
Hello, I am Josh, the ghostess with the mostest over at Super Scary. You can find me at Super Scary Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. I'm mainly on Instagram, so find me there. We release episodes every Monday. If you're listening to this during the summer, we do a summer mini-series called Camp Super Scary, where we release every other Monday for a little bit of a break/hiatus. The week that this comes out, we will have just released our episode on I Still Know What You Did Last Summer with my new friend Roger from Dark Night of the Podcast. So...
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And what's something you've been reading, playing, listening to, blah, 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 my voice is getting tired, that you think the listeners would enjoy?
Well, so Frank and I discovered this, I think it's been out for a little bit, but new to me, a game called the Untitled Goose Game.
Oh my god!
And
yes, I love that game.
I don't know if anybody's mentioned it on the pod before, but it is so much fun if you just want something so incredibly dumb to play, but it's but dumb in a good way. You're basically
it's very whimsical.
Yeah, and it's more fun to play with a second person. So you're a gaggle of geese that are going around terrorizing people in this town, and you have a checklist. You have to steal things from this guy's garden, and
you have to.
Yeah, you have to.
Must.
and then you throw his rake in the pond. And,
oh my god! And everyone is just mildly inconvenienced by this. No harm really, but.
But it's a lot of fun. Frank and I have been playing it a lot to, in between, Baldur's Gate 3.
That's how Sean and I, we like to be watching one drama and one silly cartoon at the same time. You gotta have balance.
Yeah,
of course.
Definitely.
Awesome.
And if you don't mind, I would just like to plug again that I am on Nothing to Fear podcast talking about Twilight this summer. So if you enjoy Twilight, we are watching all of the films over there.
If I had a nickel for every time Josh talked about Twilight on the podcast, I'd have 2 nickels.
But yeah, so go listen to those. By the time this episode comes out, we will have talked about Up to New Moon. And yeah, so go check that out. Nothing to Fear podcast. And you can check out a trailer on my channel.
Hell yeah. I've been your host, Christina. You know where to find me. I've been sick, so... Oh, I've been playing Hollow Knight, which is a really fun video game. Ooh. If you enjoy the video game energy of, not knowing what you're supposed to be doing, which I find it frustrating, but a lot of people really enjoy it. And the game is overall, fun now that I have figured out what I'm supposed... Hey, if you want to play Hollow Knight, just DM me and I'll tell you what to do first. Because they do not tell you. But it's a really fun, kind of creepy-ish, whimsical game. I think it's on Switch and PS5. I'm playing it on Switch. Very cute. I also started watching Resident Alien. Have either of you watched that show?
I've seen the first season.
It's so good. It's Alan Tudyk, whom I adore, a gentleman and a scholar, and also like a chicken and a lot of other things.
Is he like an alien that's like disguised as a human or something? Yeah.
Yes.
I've seen previews for it.
He gets dragged in because the town doctor is the guy he killed. And
no,
it gets started because the town doctor dies.
The other town, he is a doctor. Okay. He's impersonating a doctor who lives on the outskirts of town, but the official town doctor dies, and he gets wrapped into being the doctor and helping figure out this like murder of the other doctor.
Got it. Okay.
And it's very funny because he's an alien. He's trying to fit in, but he gets this reputation as just like some weird guy. Like a lot of things he does, everyone around him is like, that's just our autistic friend, the doctor, basically. Like, that's the energy. Like, he says some, like, weird things, and they're just like, oh, guy, you're so fucking weird. We love you so much.
So it's like the good doctor.
I don't know anything about that, but sure.
Okay.
So Tina, have you seen the I am the surgeon meme?
No.
Okay, never mind then.
Yeah, it's a really good show, and there's also pretty good native representation on it because it takes place in like middle of nowhere Colorado or something. So there's like a reservation nearby, and like I think like the real protagonist of the show, the person I would consider to be the real protagonist, is a native woman who has like a lot of talk about her culture and stuff. So it's like it's good. All of the men are idiots, and all of the women are the heart and soul of the show, and that is what real life feels like also.
You're not wrong.
So there, Ethan, Josh, thank you so much for being here with me today. I loved this chapter, and I had a really good time recording it with you guys.
Likewise.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, and listeners, love you too. This is usually when I say, Haley, thanks for being here, but I forgot that she's not here. She's usually here. I'm delirious. I'm so sick. I'm going to go to sleep, and I'm not going to talk again for the rest of the night. And guess what, listeners? Next week, I will probably not be sick anymore. And that's it. Let's go kill Voldemort. Woo! Woo! We got the sword. Let's go. That's it, potheads. Thanks for listening to The Restricted Section. Hosted and produced by me, Christina Kahn. Theme music produced by Ryan Kahn. Logo designed by Michael Hardison. Please don't find us on social media. I am not doing anything there. However, you are welcome to join our Patreon. For $1 a month, you can gain access to our Discord server, which is a lot of fun. And for $5 a month, you get access to our monthly bonus episodes. There's also a $10 and a $20 tier as well. So please go check that out. We are honored to be part of Deus Ex Media Podcast Network, which features lots of wonderful podcasts for nerds, including this one.
Do you love to be super scared? Do you enjoy listening to hilarious hot takes on timeless classics? Well, fear not, listeners. I'm here. Welcome to the Super Scary Podcast, where we cover everything from the supernatural to the superpowered. I'm your host, Josh, a scaredy cat nerd who enjoys superhero, sci-fi, and horror movies way too much. Whether I'm processing my trauma from Texas Chainsaw Massacre or reminiscing on the nostalgia of Hocus Pocus, my guests and I have a hilarious time going through our favorite and sometimes not so favorite moments. I'm your friend till the end, listeners, because everyone's entitled to one super scary podcast. We post weekly episodes on Mondays, and you can find us at Super Scary Podcast on all the socials. See you in the afterlife, listeners.
All right, I'm like so discombobulated because I've been so sick this week that like nothing is real. Do you ever have one of those weeks where nothing is real?
It seems like everybody in my life's getting sick right now because like you and MC are sick.
Okay, well I want to be really clear that me, Alex, Leela, Haley, Brooke, Brooke's kid, Sean, I probably forgot someone. We're all sick from
all
hanging
of you
out
are
this
sick.
weekend.
So
yes,
everybody that was at that
sick.
little engagement party is now sick.
Except Zach.
What the hell, man?
I don't know, because I definitely, there's a picture, there's so many incriminating pictures. There's a picture of me lighting 2 joints in my mouth that I'm gonna pass out to everyone.
Oh, no.
The reason that there's 2 is because Leela was feeling a little sick. So I was like, well, I'm going to do a Leela and Jason joint, and I'll do an everyone else joint. But, like, I caught something at some point, so...
Dave X Media.